to the Everyday Guy Show.
Every day,
Brought to you by the Everyday Guy.
anyway,
For the Everyday Guy.
any day.
This is for the Everyday Guy.
What'd you say?
All right, bud. 3, 2, 1, we're live.
Welcome to the Everyday Guy Show, brought to you by the Everyday Guy.
Where we speak proper English.
What we can say is that it looks for him in Uxbridge also something where there may be some concern. He had a 12,000 majority here.
12,000!
It's now down to 5,000.
5,000!
Some people think it won't happen again.
It won't happen again!
Yeah, man. I see these guys, they be rapping about popping 2 perkies and drinking a beer.
You know, the story of how he passed away, he swallowed all them perks. I was looking at it like, that didn't really make sense. But in the same sense, I was like, out of respect of bro, I'ma still never pop one again.
Before you know it, it ends up happening more and more and more. And then you're on this euphoria, and then it's hard to generate on your own. Now, how is somebody going to talk about this if they haven't experienced it? And these are my deep analysis. That's why I asked you if you wanted mushrooms earlier.
There's a big possibility that I'm high right now, but I'm pretty sure Jesus is in the corner of my room.
Rest now, my child.
That's a good note. That's a good point that you're bringing up right now. Right now, it's
Psychedelics, fam.
no.
It's
I'm not asking about that. I'm more or less, if you were trying to help someone that can no longer generate euphoria without a substance, whatever substance they're abusing, what would be your advice to them? How would you help them come back from the brink of darkness?
from my experiences of dancing with the devil.
Even to this day, there's songs that I've written that people still ask me questions about. Even 20 years later, people ask me, is Dance with the Devil a true story?
All of those activities like turning up and substance abuse is all to feel a feeling of joy and an absence of pain. Because those are pain meds, fam. Like the perkies and the oxys, the avatars. Those are pain numbing substances. With all of those, understanding why you even participate in that stuff.
You mentioned addiction. Okay. So if you do have an addiction, first of all, ask yourself, not what's wrong with the addiction, but what's right about it. What's it doing for me? And most people will say, it soothes me, or it numbs me, or it gives me stress relief, or it gives me a sense of control. In other words, recognize that the addiction is not your primary problem. It's your attempt to solve a problem. The problem of emotional pain, of emotional loss, of stress, and so on.
What I understood from it is it's either to avoid pain, or it's a combination of avoiding pain and experiencing joy. And knowing the spectrum of emotion, if you can reference the map of consciousness for these people to see if we end up using this. In that map of consciousness, you have levels of emotions and human experience. And at the lowest, you have shame, guilt, and at the highest, you got enlightenment and oneness and all that. So at the bottom, it's level 10. At the top, it's level 1000. And if you think Dragon Ball Z, try and go Super Saiyan, fam.
Go!
And joy is at a higher level than anger. And even if you look at the word enjoyment, it's a verb. It's a practice of joy to be able to enjoy. And that's why people do drugs and shit. Yeah, man. I've seen some shit, fam. It's very sad to watch somebody get addicted to something and then they're not able to live or be without that thing. They'll be shaking and shivering. And that's the downside with the opiates. The opiates literally create a dependency within your physiological body. And the same thing can happen with alcohol too if you do it too much.
I'm 72 hours sober. Just want to jump on here and tell you to not do that. Okay? I almost thought I had a seizure before, and I'm an alcoholic. Y'all don't know me. I'm just a dad, and I'm on here to try to save the world, apparently. And
there'll be a physiological response, man. And once that happens, there is a point where there is no point of return, and it's too late. And hopefully it doesn't get to that point. And then it brings me back to that video that I was showing you with the lioness having to leave the kitten that was injured.
She hesitates just long enough to give hope. But she can't mend a broken back. No amount of care, licking, defending will fix this.
She had to make a choice to leave the kitten that's injured or stay there with the kitten that's not going to heal because it got some fatal wounds. And then you hear that cub there crying, injured, f***ed up, and you know it's gonna get eaten by the hyenas. And the lioness had to keep it moving with the cubs. That was okay. And then in life, nature is ruthless, bro. And yeah, we live in a society, and we got grocery stores and all this shit.
Every Friday night, Julia's job is to compare the grocery prices of our neighborhood stores for Saturday morning shopping. When that matter's settled, I figure maybe I can get in a little reading before it's time to go to bed. That is, after the radio's turned down a little.
But it doesn't free people from this darkness that exists as well.
So you're saying there's no hope for you?
I'm not saying that there's no hope for you. You asked me how would you help somebody like that? And first you gotta determine if they can even be helped. And ultimately the individual has to want to help themselves. That cub couldn't be helped, and the lioness knew that it was hurt too bad. And let's say it wasn't. Then the lioness would have a chance to evaluate the situation and see if it's worth it, which I'm sure she would have done it and carried her. But she knew that she had to move fast. So it depends on the situation, man. It's very situationally sensitive. Because the main thing that I want to say is there is a point of no return.
If you sacrifice your relationship to the truth, you warp your vision, and then you can't see. And then one day it'll be dark and there'll be sharp things in the fog in front of you, and you'll wander right into them because you've pathologized your own vision.
And if you're going to help somebody, you got to see, is there a point of no return that they've already gone past, or is you leaving from the situation going to make them realize that? And maybe they'll switch their life around. Because maybe just by being there, you're enabling your destruction and their destruction.
Now, what advice would you give to the person directly, even despite you being there or not? What would you tell a person with substance abuse listening out there that maybe might inspire them to start the steps to move away from the darkness?
I love you, fam. That's where I would start. And it comes from a place of self-love that I say that, because I know that's a very sad and lonely place to be. And the feeling of loneliness and going through loneliness is a very challenging place.
That's what we understand about loneliness now, that loneliness isn't about the number of people around you. It isn't about how popular you are. It doesn't matter how many people are surrounded by you. If you don't feel understood, if you don't feel seen, if you don't feel heard, you're lonely, right? Like, that's what it is.
It's going to be hard. And I'm going to be honest, probably everyone around you is not going to be there to support you. Ideally, you would have a good couple of...
Man, there was nobody. It was just me for a while.
Ideally, hopefully you have people that are going to support you, but if you're watching this and you're having some battle, understand that this battle is yours to fight. You can't give up.
Disclaimer, we're not therapists or doctors or anything like that.
Is anyone here a doctor?
I'm a doctor. What's going on?
He's having a heart attack.
I'm a doctor in philosophy.
The substance stuff, go to a fucking doctor and get something else to get yourself off of that shit, because that pain is a little different. Sometimes the pain for certain people, some people it can be very severe, and depending on the severity, seek help, seek assistance. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to do it all on your own. At the same time, understand why you're doing what you're doing. Why are you even doing it, you know?
Let's say you hurt your shoulder. What do? You seek medical attention, right? No one judges you for saying you hurt your shoulder, or for missing a competition. You get referred to a doctor and get the help you need to heal. So why isn't mental health treated the same way?
Life is more about knowing what you want as well, because then it gives you something to orient yourself towards. So after all that analysis, self-analysis, going to these yoga classes, going to MMA, doing different movements, you begin to have an understanding that your thoughts are not you. You're not your thoughts, bro. Your thoughts are a byproduct of you. You're this thing watching the thoughts happen if you can let yourself watch them. It's like going to the movies. That moment where you're watching the movie and you get lost in the movie, you're just being. You're watching the white screen putting up all these images. You become one with the movie. And if you can find that place away from the movie that's telling you it's not worth it, then it's better to switch the channel and tune into a movie that you do enjoy.